Hello and welcome aboard. This is Lighten Up Cooking, where I take a traditional dish, lighten it up by decreasing sugar or carbohydrates or salt or fat without sacrificing taste. Today I'm going to make a bread pudding. Now this is a simple dessert, and you know that the first ingredient in making bread pudding is to have day-old bread. So I'm going to use low carb bread. This is the brand that I'm using, Sola, that's SOLA brand. This says keto friendly, sweet and buttery keto bread. No sugar added, 1 gram of net carbs, no artificial colors, flavors, or preservatives. Now you can use any low carb bread that you choose if you decide to make this dish. This is what I'm using today. I have 6 slices that I have cut in cubes. Makes about 4 or 5 cups of bread. All right. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to butter a 9 by 9 inch pan. But before I do that, let me just show you my cubes. You don't have to do cubes, you can just break your bread in pieces, but I prefer to cut mine in cubes. All right, so I have a tablespoon of softened butter here, so I'm going to butter my pan really good. Pull some stuff out of the way here. Okay, and once that's done, I'm going to take my breadcrumbs and just add them, my bread cubes, and add it to my dish. Okay, just like that. Now the first thing you want to do is I'm going to use nutmeg as my flavoring. I'm going to use nutmeg and vanilla extract. But I'm going to start with a half of a teaspoon of freshly ground nutmeg. And just sprinkle this all over your bread. And you can use more if you like. I'm just going to start with a half of a teaspoon. Or you could use cinnamon or allspice or any other spice that you choose. Okay, now this is an optional ingredient. It's raisins. Now raisins are going to add carbs and it's going to add sugar. So instead of half of a cup of raisins, which this recipe calls for, I'm going to use 1/8 of a cup of raisins that I have soaked in water to hydrate and plump them up a little bit. So I'm just going to sprinkle a few in with the bread. But you can certainly omit the raisins if you choose to. But I'm using 1/8 of a cup. Okay. Now we set this aside, and then we start on the pudding mixture. And that is 4 eggs. Now instead of 4 eggs, I'm using 4 egg whites and 2 egg yolks that I have whisked. So that goes into the bowl. That's just a way of lightening it up a little bit. milk. Now you can use any milk that you like, but what I'm using with this recipe, I'm using a half of a cup of heavy whipping cream and a cup and a half of almond milk mixed. So I'll put my 2 cups in here. Okay. A cup of sweetener. Now for the sweetener, if y'all been following me, you know I like the Splenda brand of Magic Baker 0-calorie sweetener. This is a mixture of erythritol, allulose, and stevia leaf extract. I'm going to use a half of a cup of this. And in addition to the Magic Baker, I'm going to use a half of a cup of brown sweetener. This is a Swerve brand of brown sugar. It's 0-calorie sweetener. It has erythritol, allulose, vegetable glycerin, chicory root fiber, fruit juice concentrate, and other natural flavors. This is Swerve brown sweetener. I'm using a half of a cup of that. And that's what this is. And this goes into my bowl as well. Okay, now I'm going to add a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Okay. And now I'm going to give this a good stir. And then we're going to take this and pour it over the bread mixture. Just like that. It might be better to just dip it out. Let's do this. Okay. Alright, we're going to let this kind of sit for a few minutes so that the bread can absorb the pudding mixture. Okay, now we're going to preheat our oven to 350 degrees. And then we're going to bake this. It says to bake until it is firm. So when I put it in the oven, I'll come back and let you all know how long I cooked it. Okay. Now while it's cooking, I'm going to start on the sauce. we're going to just heat a saucepan. And to our pan, we're going to add 2 cups of milk. And here again, I'm using a 1/2 cup of heavy whipping cream and 1.5 cups of almond milk. But you can use whatever milk you choose to if you're going to make this. So that's 1 cup. And that's 2 cups. Okay. Now, to our sauce, to our milk, we're going to add 1/2 stick of butter, and that's what I have here. A 1/2 cup of sweetener. Now for this sweetener, instead of the Splenda Magic Baker that I use for the bread pudding, I'm going to use my Pure brand of granular sweetener. And I like this brand, you've heard me say this before, because it's real sweet, a little bit goes a long way, and it's better for any dish that's not a baked dish, like your sauces, smoothies, sweeten your beverages, anything that you're not going to bake. This is a better choice for me. I don't like this for baking. So I'm going to use a 1/2 cup of the Pure granular sweetener. Okay, we're going to use 1 teaspoon of nutmeg. To our sauce. Okay. And I'm going to switch my eyes here. And to that, I'm going to add a teaspoon of vanilla extract. But, hold on. The teaspoon of vanilla, I'm gonna hold off on adding that. I'm gonna let this cook down and thicken, and then I'll add the vanilla and the rum extract. So I'm going to hold off on that. So far I have 2 cups of milk, 2 tablespoons of butter, 1 teaspoon of nutmeg, and I'm going to add the extracts after it cooks a little bit. So this has to cook and thicken. So you can either add, for the thickening, you could either add cornstarch, you could add arrowroot, or you could add just your regular white flour. But I'm going to use xanthan gum because this is what I have on hand. You all know that I use xanthan gum a lot when I'm cooking. So I'm going to use about, I'm going to say a 1/2 teaspoon. Because you don't want to use too much, because a little bit goes a long way with the xanthan gum. And this is a thickening agent. So we're going to put this in and let it cook. Until it thickens. And then I'll come back and add the extracts. Okay, you all. My sauce is thickened. I went back and added about a pinch of salt to even out the sweetness. So I wanted you to see the thickness of it with that xanthan gum. Perfect consistency. So to the sauce, I'm adding half of a teaspoon of vanilla extract. No, a teaspoon. 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. So that's going in now. And a tablespoon of rum extract. Okay. All right. Now you could use rum if you chose to do that. But extract works fine for me. So we got nutmeg, vanilla extract, and rum extract in our sauce. So I'm going to pour this up in a bowl. Just like that. Put all of it out. Okay. Now the bread pudding, I let it cook until a knife inserted comes out clean. So it was about 35 minutes for me. It cooked 35 minutes. But it's going to depend on your oven. Okay. All right. Now let's do a taste test. This is the most important part. Just gonna cut a piece here. It's still pretty hot now. It'll set up better once it's cooled a little bit. But I'm gonna give it a sample before I put the sauce on. Delicious. This is so good. It's sweet enough and moist, not dry. And the nutmeg gives it so much flavor. Real good. So I'm gonna try it with the sauce. Now you could either pour the sauce over the entire pudding, or you could just add it as you serve it. So that's what it looks like. This takes it to a whole nother level. This is so good. You can just taste the rum. Not too much, it's not overpowering, but it's just a perfect amount. The rum extract. This is delicious, you guys. And you can't tell that you're using low carb bread. You can't tell. It's delicious, decadent. So you all should give this a try. Let me know what you think. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, share the video, and if you haven't subscribed or you're not following me already, consider following me on Facebook and subscribing on YouTube. And if you're already on board with me, I thank you so much. And until next time, share a smile with someone. It will lighten up their spirit and yours too. Bye now.